Welcome to another edition of Freedom Beyond the Bars. I'm your host, George Matson, and today we feature Francis Schuster, convicted for drug trafficking, and this is his story. Welcome, Francis. Welcome to Freedom Beyond the Bars.
Good being here.
Francis Schuster.
Yes, sir.
American citizen.
Yes, I am, sir.
Convicted in 2015 for drug trafficking. Tell me about Francis before your conviction.
Francis was a 32-year federal employee, and I went from a little lowly letter carrier all the way up to an accountant at headquarters. Had a lot of responsibilities, even had stamp stock in excess of $1 million. Never convicted of anything to do with any kind of drugs or any kind of illegal activity. And it's not something that I was seeking.
When did the conviction, when were you held?
I was brought here on the guise of a financial deal that was going to fund my foundations and my charitable organizations that I was going to be doing for the rest of my life. And unfortunately, his idea of a financial deal was drugs. Mine was supposed to be a loan.
Were you aware that you were trafficking drugs?
No, I was not. You're looking at a guy that has never smoked a joint in his life. I don't like taking the prescription medication I have to take. I think even that's too much. I would love to get off it.
So you were held at the airport?
In Robinson, yes.
Tell me the experience, what it was like when you discovered that you were being arrested for trafficking drugs.
Well, it's kind of like getting a slap in the face with a block of ice. It was very scary, especially at my age. I was not a very healthy guy to begin with, but there's some challenges with the diet that you guys have here that I'm not used to. That's got nothing to do with you. You're used to it. You do fine. I'm getting used to it. It's taken a while, but but dealing with that made it probably something that I would not recommend to almost anyone else, especially at my age, because it takes you away from a lot of things. I miss my family. Unfortunately, I am divorced, but I still have 3 daughters and 5 grandchildren, and I miss them along with my brother a lot. And I can't wait for the day that I can rejoin them.
When you were arrested, you were taken before the court.
Yes, it was.
When your sentence was delivered upon you, that was the beginning of a different life for you.
Very much so.
Prison life in a foreign country.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that experience, your first night being locked away in a foreign prison.
I had spent 6 months in remand in Tobago. And Tobago is a very small prison. And Tobago was good in some ways, but not good in others. But it gave me a good understanding of what to expect, especially once I got here. The rank and file persons that I deal with on a daily basis, some of them are absolutely wonderful. They're very helpful people. They treat you like an absolute human being. And there are others that go to the exact opposite. And unfortunately, I ran into quite a few of those my first couple of months in Tobago, and then the first few months even here. But it's gotten better because people have actually seen that, well, number one, he doesn't react to it, and number two, I've got no axe to grind with anyone, which is why I try to help as many people as I can, because I'm just a helpful guy by nature.
When we talk about getting used to something, how did you manage to get used to spend? And what's your length of your sentence?
I was sentenced to 4 years.
4 years.
Yes.
Some would say a short.
Yeah, that's what they say. To me, it's long.
It's long, but it's short to
I
some of the
understand.
guys who. How have you developed the mentality to adapt to prison life for the next 4 years?
Well, basically, it was probably a journey for me. Two things really helped. Number one, I started reading the Bible a lot more than I ever did before. And no, that wasn't because I was in prison, because I used to read the Bible before I was here. I was very, very outgoing and went to church every Sunday. But the biggest thing that I've had to adapt to, or that I use to adapt to life here, is the fact that eventually someone's going to figure out that life is what it is, and you make of it what you make of it. You choose to decide when you get up in the morning whether you're going to smile or you're going to frown. If you're going to frown, you're going to have a terrible day. If you're going to smile, you're going to have a good day. And I don't care if you're in here or out there. That's my take on life from the get-go. I had a tough time the last 10 years because of a very not so good divorce. And then I was also helping my aunt through hip surgery and breast cancer while I was living over 1,100 miles away. And I had to take her to the doctor. And so I would drive 20 hours straight through from where I lived to her house, and then put her back in her place after her doctor's appointment and drive straight back. But it was something I needed to do. I promised my father I would help his sister. My father is now deceased. So that was the last thing he asked me to do.
In your stay here so far, what are the positive sides of prison life you have witnessed?
Let's go back to the people, okay? Because really, the programs here are good, and the programs here, like in my case, I already have a college degree, okay? So I'm helping to teach, which I think is great because I get a chance to use my education. But the neat thing about it is dealing with the people that I bunk with. If you get yourself in with a couple of people that are decent people to talk to, you can actually get through life pretty easy, okay? And whatever time I don't have to be able to talk to them, I'm wrapped up in a book. Fortunately, with my current position as a teacher, I get to see the library as much as I can, and I make big use of that.
But I'm sure in the midst of all these things that you do, there are times when depression or that lonely feeling, not being around your family or friends
All the time.
all the time, makes it even worse. You are in a foreign country. How do you deal with those issues when it arises?
For the most part, in my particular case, I've had 10 years of getting used to this because I pretty much lived on my own for the 10 years prior to my coming here. And that's been by choice because I don't feel well enough to be able to offer another human being the security that I used to be able to do when I was working. And until such time that I'm able to do that, I'm going to back off from having interactions. But yes, there are times that you can sit down and you can You can just cry your eyes out if you want. But then, like I said before, you have a choice. You either smile about it, smile through it, or you frown through it. If you frown through it, you will cry your eyes out. But if you smile through it, you're going to focus on what's coming. And you're also going to focus on whatever the Heavenly Father can give you in the way of hope and trust that He'll bring you through it. And believe me, He's done a great job in my case.
Now, you got caught bringing something into the country, drugs.
No. It was already in the country.
It was already in the country.
Yeah, I got the drugs from here.
Right, and you were supposed to take it back.
And I was supposed to go, I was going through, I guess I was going through Tobago to Amsterdam.
Right, unknowingly.
Unknowingly. Maybe stupidly, but unknowingly.
Now, there are many persons who fall victim to the same act,
Yes.
taking things unknowingly.
Right.
How can you help an individual? What advice can you give a person that might be able to assist them in not falling into that same trap as
Okay.
you found yourself?
That's a good question. Because the nice thing about it is it's a very simple answer. And that is if you, like in my particular case, I was supposed to be taking paperwork. Guess what? I never saw the paperwork. But I was also so wrapped up in trying to get out of the rut that I was in that I didn't bother to think about what it could have been and what really was going on. So as you sit back and you reflect on that, you go, now wait a minute, if it's paperwork, why couldn't they just FedEx it over or whatever and be done with it? You know, oh no, you got to sign it. Well, I'll be there at the end and I'll sign it and everything will be fine. You know, it's called, I trusted the wrong guy. He told me he was a barrister and he gave me whatever credentials he had. And I'm sure if I were to try and get his credentials verified, that it would not be. But too late now.
But there are those who will say a person with your education and being a business person, you should have known better.
And that's exactly what happened at the court. They didn't believe that I didn't know. But the difference is, unbeknownst to me, there's a whole culture out there called drugs. Now, granted, I grew up at the end of the 60s. I should have known better. But like I said, I don't do drugs. Never have, never will. And I guess I was just focused on the end result. And I knew that my end result was going to be a good thing, not only for me, but for a lot of, especially young kids, babies in particular, orphanages. I was going to help a lot of people in a lot of ways. And my business plan is still in existence. It's just that obviously I can't do anything about it because I'm here. So eventually I will. It's just delayed.
Upon your release,
Yes.
what is Francis going to do? Now, 4 years of your life have already been lost.
Yep.
You are 4 years older.
Mm-hmm.
Upon release, what do you plan to do for the rest of your life?
Well, I'm going to try and finish everything that I started with regard to my functions as a helping people, because my business plan has it so that if I get it set up and running, I can will it to give it to my grandson to run. He can give it to his grandson to run. It'll go on forever. And the idea here is so that the charitable organizations that receive the money don't have to worry about where it's coming from. It's coming from every month, and it goes straight into their bank account. Okay, and that is an exciting prospect for me, because it fulfills my goal to actually leave here and watch something become better. because there's a lot of kids that I've seen, and my daughter works for one of the outfits that I was going to help. And these kids just don't have any kind of hope in their life whatsoever. And it'd be so good to be able to say, well, you know what, you guys are going to have X amount of dollars every month that you can bank on. And so they can make their life a little bit better on a regular basis.
How do you keep in touch with your daughters?
Well, I was doing the phones when they came up. However, that's not really happening right now. I do aerograms, and then my daughter has, she has sent me, like for instance, my birthday was a couple months back. She sent me a birthday card along with pictures of my new grandson and my other grandsons. And so it's been sporadic, but it's still something that's a work in process. I think a lot of the tough stuff is over because I'm understanding what I need to do better than, just saying, hey, how do I do this? At least now I know I can ask for it. And I know how to ask and where to ask, which helps.
What's the remaining time of your sentence?
I have, let me see, 616 days to go. Well, I do that just because I'm an accountant.
You might not get another opportunity.
But what would you like to say to the staff at the maximum state prison, the officers who have been given the responsibility to look after you and to open opportunities in different aspects of courses and different projects? What would you like to say to them?
I've already shared something with the programs director here with regard to a course that you guys did have at one time but haven't had for a while. My degree is in accounting. So I would like to be able to teach that course, because, hey, it'd be nice to use my degree. The other thing I would like to say, and this is kind of a shout out to all the officers that I've had dealings with, I can count on one hand anybody that I ever really had any problem with, because almost to a man, they are upfront, positive. Hey, what about? Well, let's try this. Okay, and they're helpful, almost to a fault, because sometimes it does take away from their day, and they don't mind.
Francis, thank you.
Thank you.
For giving us the opportunity to share your story.
Thank you for taking my story.
And we want to wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And upon your release, we hope that you can continue with the life you had before you entered the prison. So thank you again.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Good luck with your program.
Thank you. Welcome to another edition of Freedom Beyond the Bars. I'm your host, George Matheson. And today we feature Terry Daly, and this is his story. Welcome, Terry Daly, to be on Freedom Beyond the Bars. You were convicted in 2012. What was life like for Terry before this incident?
Well, my life before this incident was a life of normalcy. Normalcy being in that I wasn't involved in like the gangs and life of crime. I always used to be listening to my parents, and attending school, was a member of the cadets while growing up, and everything was normal.
Now take me back to that fateful day when the crime was committed and you were arrested. That was the change in your life, the beginning of a new life for you. Tell me about that.
On this, the I received a call from some friends and they was asking me to come out to take a lime at the mall. And for some apparent reason, I just shunned them off. I decided to go sew. While I went sew, I met another partner. We sat down, we had some beers and things, and unfortunately for me, I ended up somewhere else where a crime was committed. Today I am serving a sentence of 14 years for this crime that was committed. And had I had the knowledge that I had today, I would have made that better choice on that particular day, instead of me taking a chance.
Now, what was the experience like when you heard the news that guilty as charged? How did your life change at that moment?
At that moment, a lot of things started running through my mind because I knew nothing about prison. All I see here about rumors about prison is this, prison is that, prison is this, actually what taking place behind prison. So a lot of negative thoughts started running through my mind. I said, no, what will happen to me? Here I am, not going to face, to go still behind bars.
Your first night in prison?
My first night in prison, I was actually lying on one spot. Immediately as I came in, I got the fever one time. And everybody in the cell was like just watching me, and I was like scared, frightened. I wonder what's going to happen, because you know, we be sitting down and we be watching movies, somebody show a movie about prison escape or jailbreak, and you'll be seeing like these stuff happening. So I was wondering now, I wonder if this is going to happen.
Let's hear about the experience after the first night, how you managed to overcome, that first night and come to accept that you're going to be here for 14 years, and how best you're going to adapt to this situation.
I sat down and I said to myself, on the third day, what can I do? I am already here to serve this particular sentence. I was given a date to which I'll be back out in society. And I said, well, I will make the best use of whatsoever is afforded to me whilst I'm at prison. Instead of just looking to stay around, like watching the other guys and them who said they just sit inside and doing nothing. So immediately my mind went back to that day when this crime was committed, and I said to myself, if I'd made that choice and gone so with my friends to the mall and lime instead, I wouldn't have been here today. So what am I to do now? What are the choices am I going to make? How am I going to better myself? How am I going to be that person so when I leave here that society could say, well, we could accept him back, we forgive him, so that I could be integrated back smoothly and hopefully be that person that I was before this crime was committed, back to normalcy, a decent living, citizen living in the country. And I started to get myself involved in courses, went at the school to CXC O-level subjects, which I got a few passes so far. Still trying to get some more passes, and also at the E-level exams also.
Prison life is not what you have accepted. It's not what you expected coming in here. But you said you have changed, but when did the change come around? When did you made that change, that decision, that here I'm going to change and I'm going to get involved in different aspects of what the prison has to offer? Was it a tough decision for you to make?
I would say all that it was a tough decision, but I was charged at the age of 19 years. And I was convicted 14 years thereafter. And the decision that made me the biggest turnaround, because as I said before, I was charged for this offense. The life that I used to live was a life not of crime, but a life of normalcy. And I said to myself, when you leave here, what it is that you want to do as a person? Are you going to sit down here and be involved in these conversations and go back out there and go and do something, take a walk for somebody, do this? Because you're hearing the little negative conversation that been conversed amongst the other guys. Or are you going to do something for yourself and get yourself back, or even be that better person? So when you leave here, and I decided to make that decision and say, here, going on, I'm going to move soon. I'm going to follow the right hand and do that, what is right. So that is why it led me, and I made that decision. I was approximately into about the 3rd week into the sentence. Because I sat down and I was analyzing everybody and hearing different conversations from other people and watching, and I said, you're going on. This is not for me. Prison was not made out for me. There's a life, a better life out there for me. A life where I wouldn't have to wake up every morning and somebody's going to be over me. You, put your shirt in your pants. Line up here. Do this, do that. And although that life where you will be free and you won't have to do that, it will be a life where you won't have to look over your shoulder.
What about the depression? Have you ever, in your stay thus far, how do you deal? Because I'm sure that there are times that, regardless of what, I'm sure that there are times when that depressing period will step into your life. You miss your family, being outside. How do you deal with these things?
I deal with it by I shy away to myself. And when these moments do come, I lie, the tears come out my eyes, remembering all these good times, these good moments with your little sister, my son, your mom, and and all these wonderful moments. And when you look around, it's just like 4 walls, nothing for you to do. I take up the Bible, I go to scriptures, I read. I seek this comfort in God. And honestly speaking, He has taken me through from that day since I was convicted to this day present. I was even baptized in the year 2013. That's 1 year after conviction with the Church of Christ ministry.
What would you say to the people who will always make the comment that as soon as a person commits a crime and they go into prison, they find God? What would you say? How would you respond to that?
I will respond to that in a way that if they goes back to the Old Testament, there are certain people who are mentioned in the Bible who was even in prison, who their life before was a life of crime. And even then, they found God. And even when they left prison, they were that better person. So it's not a matter of people finding God or just want to be or just choose their life to be with God when they, after they are convicted. But from a spiritual point of view, deep down inside, if that's not the life or that's not the way that you're supposed to live, you have to listen to that inner voice. And that inner voice says you know to make that choice whether you want to go left or if you want to go right.
Given the opportunity to speak to young people about crime, because we are seeing an upsurge in crime, what advice will you give to the young individuals who are looking at this program? Because crime is out of control. And when we look at the ages, it's a lot of young people committing crime. Being a young person yourself, what advice would you give to the young man or the young woman who is looking at the glamour of being involved in crime?
I will tell them firstly, crime does not pay. There's no sense. It's your life you're playing with. So it's either if you want to be into a life of crime, whereas you could be behind bars for the rest of your life and everything is taken away from you. And when you are here, then you're going to wonder and want to know, well, what did I do? So whilst you are out there still and you have the life, make that a right choice. Be like the coin, where there are two sides. Make that right choice and pick the right side.
The only reason an inmate can make that change to his life, he has to do it on his own. But the prison officers are here to assist. And time spent at the prison, we are hearing that the prison officers, some of who go beyond the call of duty to assist the inmates like yourself in bettering your life, coming to terms with your stay here at the prison. For those who might not have the knowledge, you share with us some of the resources or some of the programs that the prison offers so that those on the outside can have a better idea of what the prison officers, besides risking their lives, but the human side of the prison officers.
Some of the programs offered here at the school in different forms. We have the religious aspect, whereas the officers ensure that you are well taught in whatever religious background that you are from and you're willing to follow religiously. Another one is in the field of life skill, where you are taught various different skills, for example, how to carry about yourself, even teach you how to budget, how you be able, when you leave prison, how you be able to sit down and spend your money wisely, look at budget it up, put this, X, Y, Z, so on and forth. At the school, the Learning Center. At the Learning Center, we have different programs here where there's the altar program that's divided in 3 sections. The beginners, for those who definitely cannot read or write. And the officers go beyond the goal to ensure that majority of the prisoners when they leave here, they're able to sign their name now. Many came in unable to sign their name, but when they leave, they could actually take a pen and put it to a paper and actually put their signature. They're altar level 1, altar level 2, which takes our next level. You have the school leaving classes, those who are at the primary level to come over to the secondary level. Then we have the CXC level, O levels, into A levels also. We even have music. There's a band. And the officers sometimes stay here way beyond the time that they're supposed to depart or leave to go home. They go way beyond extra duties. Recently we had a program which was through COSTAT, which is funded by GATE. I myself is in that program. The officers go way beyond. The program finishes at 6 p.m. when the jail should really be locked down at that time. Sometimes we have the program still running at that time. Some of the officers which is here so early in the morning to ensure that you are taken out so that these programs could be run.
Given the opportunity to speak to the parents or the family of the victim, what would you like to tell them?
I would like to tell them that I am sorry for whatever happened on this particular day. I ask you to forgive me for what took place. I am not that person that you may hear people want to see that I am. I have changed my life. I've accepted my wrong. And I would like to better myself so when I reintegrate back into society, I could be that person that I was before this crime was committed.
Terry Lane, it was a pleasure. It was the opportunity given to us to hear your story. We want to thank you and we want to wish you all the best as you continue to serve your sentence until you are released. Thank you again. Special thanks to the Commissioner of Prison and the entire Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service for giving us this opportunity to bring this program to you. We hope that you will join us next week as we continue another edition of Freedom Beyond the Bars.